Hey everybody, this is Wileen Benson. Here we are at day 3 of our 21-day challenge. And today, what I want to encourage you to do is start challenging your beliefs on the way that God, or what the opinion that God has about wealth and about the wealthy. And I'm going to be sharing something with you today that might come as a shock, might send you running to your scriptures to really verify the things that I'm saying. But before I jump into that, I just want to share a couple things. First of all, if you're registered in this Lord's Way to Wealth 21-day challenge, and I'll put the registration link today. I'll be continuing to put that registration link so you can join anytime. And if you are registered, I'm going to be actually sending you some scriptures that support the things that I'm going to be teaching you today or sharing with you today. And the other reason why I think it would be really good for you to register and know that you can register anytime, if you happen to find this 21-day challenge and it's like on day 20, still register, because we are creating an archive of all of the videos and all of the emails that are going out. And so you can actually start at day 1, even if you're starting on like day 20. You could go back to day 1 and you can do the challenge at any time. So make sure that you do register, and know that if you are already registered, you're going to have access to those right away as they're created. There's probably going to be like a day or 2 lag time with getting those archives up, the videos and everything, but you'll have access to those so you can go back and review. So super excited to be able to share some new stuff with you today. The thought that I want to share with you today that will possibly challenge some of your long-held beliefs about God's opinion of the wealthy is that Jesus was rich. When he was on the earth, he was rich. And a lot of people don't believe that. He was born in a stable, so that makes us think that he was not rich. But in reality, if you go back and read the scriptures, it says that he was laid in a manger because there was no room for them in the inn. Now, they were there to be taxed, and a lot of people were there. And obviously, because all the inns were full, there were more people than there could be room for them in the inn. Now, if someone was poor, they probably did never even go to the inn. They probably camped outside. They probably took their tents or whatever and camped out. I have no idea what they did. But my guess is that if they were poverty-stricken, they probably didn't even go to the inn. So Joseph and Mary actually did go to the inn, and they found out that it was full. And they were able to get into a stable that had a manger. And so again, if somebody was poverty-stricken, they probably didn't even have the option to go to a stable. They probably just camping outside. And possibly Joseph's money was used to secure a place for them in the stable. So that's just one little hint that there was some money within that family. And then a second evidence that I have as I was searching through the scriptures and just receiving this inspiration that Jesus was rich, these thoughts that I was pondering in my heart, was the first miracle that he performed that really opened up his ministry, and that was that he turned water to wine at a wedding. And if you go back and look at the scripture, Mary was at the wedding already when Jesus and his disciples arrived. Jesus and his disciples were guests of the wedding. They didn't just show up and say, hey, please feed us because we're poor and we are beggars. They were actually invited to the wedding. He and his disciples were invited, and Mary was already there. His mother was already there. So I know, because I've had a daughter that got married, I was there before the guests, and I was helping to set up and everything and making sure that all the details were taken care of. And so my vision of this is that she was one of the possibly family or somebody that was very closely related in some way to the master that was putting on the wedding, and possibly even because Jesus and his disciples were invited to the wedding, she was probably someone that was very important to the bridegroom and the bride that were being married as well. And the other thing that makes me think that she was in high esteem at this wedding was because they ran out of wine, and they already had served all of the wine. And then she went to Jesus and said, "We're out of wine and we need you to do something about it." And he kind of hesitated, actually, but she just didn't even think anything of it. She turned to the servants and she told them, "Just do whatever he says." And then I just envisioned her like walking off and leaving Jesus there with the servants and him saying, "Okay, well, then I guess that's what I'm going to do. I guess we're going to turn water to wine." So he told the servants to go get 6 water vessels, stone water vessels, and go fill them up to the with water and bring them to him. And the servants obeyed him. They obeyed her first, and then they obeyed him. And they went and filled the water vessels up to the brim, brought them back, and he turned it to wine. So if Jesus and his mother had been poor, do you think these servants would have obeyed them, and especially obeying them to the letter, and obeying Jesus to the letter? So that was another indication that there was possibly some money there and that they were in high esteem. The third thing, and I could share several examples, but the third example that I want to share is at Jesus's death, when he was had been stripped of his raiment before he went out to carry his cross to Calvary. The soldiers and everybody that was there parted his raiment. They cast lots to part his raiment. Now, do you think if he was a beggar on the street or just walked around with and never had money to have any kind of raiment that was worth anything, do you think that those centurions would have been casting lots to see who got his coat, who got his sandals, who got all these things? No, they probably would have burned them. They probably would have thrown them out and burned them. So that is just another indication that there's, I didn't write the scriptures and I haven't read it anywhere in the scriptures. Actually, there is one place, and I'll make sure I put that in the registration for those who have registered in the email that I send out. There is one place in the scriptures that says that Jesus was wealthy. And I will find that scripture. I can't think of where it is right now, but I will find it and I will send it to you for those who have registered. So these are just 3 indications that possibly Jesus and his family were rich, were wealthy. And so this is just a couple of thoughts, 3 ideas that you get to ponder in your heart and say, I wonder if maybe these long-held beliefs that I'd had about Jesus's life, and if I'm going to follow Jesus, then I need to be poor. I'm wondering if maybe I should change those beliefs. So the problem is that we are taught a lot of things about riches and a lot of things about wealth that don't align with being righteous. And the solution is to really get to the truth, right? Is to really understand what is God's opinion of wealth and the wealthy. And but the problem is that we have a lot of conflicting beliefs. Maybe we were raised in a family that didn't believe that it was worthy, you're worthy if you are wealthy, or, there was a lot of, things said about the wealthy or something like that. So we have to really go to God and ask him, what is your opinion about wealth and about righteousness in association with being wealth? Because when you get on the Lord's way to wealth, you definitely need to, to come to terms with those long-held beliefs that you've had. Those long-held beliefs are typically counterfeits that are coming to you when you're on the world's way to wealth, because you have this desire to live your purpose and to be following God's will and everything, but that doesn't necessarily happen on the world's way to wealth. So that is your challenge today, is to start challenging your long-held beliefs on about what God's opinion is of wealth and the wealthy. And I'm going to be sending an email out to the rest of you with those, to all of those of you who have registered, of these scriptures that you can start studying yourself. And then we'll be back here again at 10 o'clock a.m. Mountain Daylight Time tomorrow.